And welcome to Space Chicken, the podcast that would have more listeners if we had a +5 charisma mask. Joining us in the top square, top left, as always, is Mike. Say hi, Mike.
Good evening, everybody.
And then on the top right square, someone who enjoys ingesting food and liquid on air, Scott.
Just
say hi,
spit
Scott.
take them already.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, and played the part of Wilson Ortiz, who is apparently on the no-fly list and therefore could not get to a computer in time, is a chicken.
No fly list.
He's a picture of a chicken, so he's not going to say anything. Okay, so today on Space Chicken, we're going to do the sequel to our highly acclaimed Why We RPG Episode 1, and what we're calling Why We RPG Episode 2, RPG Harder. We focused a lot the last time we did this on the origin of the RPG, which is the tabletop Dungeons and Dragons, Mech Warrior, Mech Commander, right? Mech Commander? I said Mech Warrior. Mech Warrior is a video game. Mech Commander is the tabletop game, right?
Battletech's the tabletop. Mech Warrior and Mech Commander are both video games.
They're both video games. Okay, I
apologize.
Right.
Get it right,
grandfather.
Get it right.
So, we're going through, and the reason on the last one that we started with the tabletop is because a lot of what we do in the video game world is based off the tabletop, and we don't even realize it. When I played a Knights of the Old Republic, the first one, you're there, you're like dual wielding lightsabers, and you're doing actions, and these numbers are popping up, and you're like, how can someone with a gun beat a dude with a lightsaber? And what it was that was the first time I had to face the understanding that everything that happens in a video game is just dice rolls that are happening underneath the computer system. Like the subsystem of the actions that are taking place are just a series of dice rolls over and over and over again, to the point where we have still in video games now a very archaic term, and it's only archaic because it started in the time that Burke used to play tabletop games, a saving throw. And it was always something where like I would never put two and two together, but a saving throw is literally you throw the dice in order to stop yourself from being under some type of undesirable effect to save yourself. A literal saving throw. And up to that point, I'm like, what a stupid name for my attributes will stop me from being stunned. So that's where we left off. We're going to transition into video games. But right before we started, Scott, who was trapped in a well the last time we did an RPG episode.
I got out.
You look much better.
He
got a haircut while I was down there.
He said something very disparaging to the tabletop people. So Scott, could you repeat it, please?
I love tabletop. It's the best thing in the world. I enjoy it so much.
Oh, it sounded like last time.
No.
What I said was I didn't really ever play tabletop, right? I mean, I played I don't even remember what the game was with my brother. It had orcs, it had something else in it. But it just wasn't my cup of tea. I just didn't find it enjoyable. I'm being honest.
How much tea do you drink?
What?
How much tea do you normally drink? Like which cups are in fact your cups of tea? Just out of curiosity, since you threw that colloquialism in there,
A lot of tea. I drink a lot of tea.
Are you a tea drinker, or are you bullshitting me?
I am a tea drinker.
Okay.
I drink water and tea, and that's it.
Oh, sweet. Income. So,
2 minutes into the podcast.
So as we go, I forgot to start the timer. Hold on. Timer.
Professionalism right there.
Professional broadcasters. There's a clock. I didn't bother looking at it. Okay, so as we go into the next level RPGs, when we talk about video games, there was the verbal one. Help me out here. There was a type of RPG where you just typed to each other, like what was happening.
Like
it was in the earlier days of gaming and the internet and computers, and it's part of what gave the idea of what a gamer was, because you had to have a computer, so you already had to be like in the computer industry to be doing that.
So it'd be like a text-based adventure, but between two people online.
We talked about those last time too.
Yeah. So did we talk about via the computer, or did we talk about it like via mail?
We talked about
mods.
We talked about mudding.
Okay, all right. So then the next step after that, I think would then be turn-based, right?
Be honest, we had friends who went right from the mud to the original World of Warcraft.
Well, I'm not talking about like a drug. I'm just talking about like historically.
But I'm saying they all.
you know,
I remember that progression.
It's the
But
gateway
you could
drug.
go.
Yeah, exactly.
Turn-based were going on at the same time as we were playing text-based games, because PlayStation 1 was out and you could play Final Fantasy for 50 hours.
Yeah, but I feel like the example you went from like, here, try some weed, and then the next day he's methed out, like he's breaking down.
Well, we weren't
the day after.
when we were in college. We weren't console kids, so we were all playing the text-based games on our computers, and the console kids were like, "Yeah, but Final Fantasy," and we were like, "Yeah, but that's weird." And then, we kind of all lost together. But I remember World of Warcraft came out right at the end of my college career. So, like, when did that came out? In 2000, 2001, right?
2004.
That long? Oh, man. I don't know what the fuck they were playing then.
That long
know,
ago,
probably
I
EverQuest.
feel like that shouldn't have overlapped with tabletop games. Like, I don't feel like World of Warcraft and tabletop games
on.
should exist in a Venn diagram of time. And someone who has an ambiguous age like yourself, I don't know how old you are. I could ask one day, but you could be anywhere between 28 and 60, and all of that would be believable. So I kind of feel like,
You know what? I'm taking a guess there. They were probably playing EverQuest because EverQuest came out in '99.
Oh, that might have been it. That might have been it.
'99. So that was usually what everybody who went to WoW was in EverQuest, and they were like, "What would it be like if things were better?"
That's what it
And
was,
then
right?
WoW came
EverQuest
out.
was a shitty version of WoW, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I never
Like, it
really
looked like it just looked like shit because it was '98.
Yeah, I mean, for that time frame, it was pretty good. So
Well, it had pictures, and we were playing in something that had no pictures. It was all text based. So all of a sudden there was pictures. Wow.
that was '99. Wow, that was a long time ago.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. That was only yesterday. So, okay, so we go to the Final Fantasies. We go into the turn base where everyone has some twist on the turn base, right? So it's like, all right, you can use a potion or you can attack. And then later on, they're like, yeah, it's kind of lame. So how about you can use a potion and attack on the same turn? And then people are like, all right, but what if when you attack, you have to pay attention to the attack and hit a button at an exact time in order to attack? And I think the first game I played at that was, I think it was called Legends of Dragoons on the PlayStation 1 or 2, I forget. I know, right? Dating myself. Literally, I go on dates with myself all the time, mostly the KFC. I'm the only person I know who'll eat there. So you would like attack with your sword, and then a little box would flash on screen, and then you'd have to time it to the box. And if you got it perfect, you can do another one, and you can chain it as you level up to 5 hits. Each one progressively more awesome than the last. And if you can't get that timing, that little rhythm mini game on the attack down, you actually would get like dumpstered. Like you would get fucking Wallywomp because you couldn't keep up. So I think you go from there into kind of the action RPG as we know it, which again at the risk of pissing people off, the first big one I think was KOTOR. Like I think Knights of the Old Republic was the first big.
It was probably the first wildly popular one. I'm
Yeah,
sure there
yeah.
was a few other ones in there, but that was the one that people who didn't play those type of games were like, I'm going to play this game. And Star Wars fans were like, I'm going to play this game. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, that is true. And it was actually, and correct me if I'm wrong, the first good Star Wars game also.
No, the simulator games on PC were the shit. X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, and there was another one. They were phenomenally good.
I have zero reference for this. Tell us,
Oh,
tell
they're
us,
so-
grandfather, what was it
They
like
were
to
just-
play the X-Wing simulator?
You know, they were late '90s simulator games, so they weren't like the most stellar looking thing. But you could fly a TIE Fighter, or you could fly in an X-Wing, and in space, so go anywhere and pull any maneuver you want because there's no mountain to smash into or land to come up short on. And there was space stations and missions and escort Han Solo through this thing, and you're flying, and there's Star Destroyers, and you could buzz right down the side of the Star Destroyer with all the turbo lasers going off. It was I played those games so long, and so they were Star Wars games. They were great Star Wars games.
You
So
know,
the-
this I kind of just for 1 second, I just want to say, like, I'm starting to understand Burke a little bit more now. I understand why he fell so hard into Destiny. It's starting to come together now. It really is. Because if you think about it, I'm listening to all you talk right now. Your past is just like meant for Destiny. Like it
So
was
Destiny was my destiny?
It was your destiny. It's like perfect if you
Fucking
actually look at
meta.
your past, right? It just worked out for you so perfect. That's why you feel so good about it.
So did Rogue Squadron just blow your fucking mind then?
Rogue Squadron was actually a little bit of a letdown if you were somebody who played the simulators, because it was very limited compared to what you could do in the simulators.
I had one of these Rogue Squadron.
Rogue Squadron was good. I did have it. I did play the hell out of it.
What was that on?
Nintendo 64.
Or X. Nah. There
Yeah,
was one that was on GameCube
they-
first.
Yeah, and then they had like the monopoly on those for a little while.
Yeah, Star Wars always made a LucasArts back in the day made some seriously poor decisions on exclusivity rights for their games.
All right, cool. So
But Tor came out. That was the reason I bought an Xbox.
wait, which game?
When Knights of the Old Republic came out, I didn't have an Xbox before that. But when Knights of the Old Republic came out, I was like, well, I need an Xbox because I was going to miss a massive Star Wars game.
Now, so we've gotten to kind of like a pivotal turning point, right? Where I think when you get a game like KOTOR, right, which again is I believe classified as an action RPG, even though it was more dice rolls than actual button pressing. Where I feel like an action RPG is more pressing buttons and then your underlying stats affect the buttons. Where KOTOR was like you're pressing buttons, but the buttons are only saying I'm fighting, and then things are happening. But anyway, so. KOTOR was one of probably the most influential games for me as to what an RPG is supposed to be, right? So we go back to the tabletop days as a dungeon master, and then just about anything can happen, right? Limited to the imagination of the players, and then the dungeon master's creativity, and then his ability to react to your creativity, right? Because if he's like, here's an obstacle for you, I invented, and then they go, well, here's a counter to that obstacle, and they're like, well, fuck, now I have to think of what happens next. And then he could be like, and dragon! And it would be great.
Yeah.
So wait, when you go down the like the Final Fantasy line, right? The story's pretty linear. Like all things considered, there's turning points, but for the most part, you ended up. We'll take Final Fantasy VII for example. That game ends with you fighting and killing Sephiroth. That's how that game ends. That's how that game will always end, regardless of whether you find all the characters and are actually fighting two halves of Sephiroth. Whether you decide to date Tifa, Ares, or Barrett, like whatever decisions you made, no matter how many chocobos, whatever weird secret things, the game ends the same every time. It's going to end with a pivotal boss battle against the main antagonist the entire time. Then you play KOTOR, right? And KOTOR. It's, again, I don't know if it was the first game that did this to me, but it was the most memorable game that did this to me. And that might just be because it was a Star Wars game, and therefore you were hyped for the Star Wars. Turn it up. That's a good song. Now we have to pay copyrights. Thanks, Scott. Anyway.
Stupid pop-ups happen.
But wait, pop-ups, or was that your ringtone?
No, that was a pop-up on my computer. I have no idea what was loading in the background.
That's why your feed comes through so shitty, because you have stuff loading in the background.
Yeah.
Most of it
Porn.
music.
Porn takes up a lot. Porn takes up a lot.
That fits in that Tantrum song was totally like the background music for a porn montage that just popped up on your screen.
Yep.
A lot of ball bouncing. Anyway, so KOTOR, right? When you have that ability to turn, oh, by the way, spoiler alert if you haven't played KOTOR yet, like, cover your ears. I'm totally gonna give away like a major plot point as I remember it, because I don't fully remember it. But you're like the Jedi who doesn't know he's a Jedi thing from the Luke Skywalker thing. They try to recreate that when you're grown up.
Well, it's it's set
thing.
thousands of years before.
But before,
the movies, but
the story is grown up who has to learn to be a Jedi. Like it's that thing, and the Jedi who's trying to train you is a female Jedi, and she's telling you how awesome you got to be a Jedi. I'm great. My accent is British. Yada yada yada, and then at some point she gets captured and she gets turned to the dark side, And that's like a what moment. You're like, whoa, this bitch was so like, I'm never going to turn. And then she totally turned. Now, granted, she was tortured and stuff. You know, it's not like she was like, hey, money. So, like, I get all that. But then you get the choice whether you're going to be evil or good. Like, in a permanent way.
There was 2 endings to that game. You could end it as the good guy or you could end it as the bad guy.
Yes. And they were drastically different endings, too. They weren't subtly different endings.
Had
They were
to play the game twice.
Drastically. First game that I ever went, I got to do that again.
Yep.
Like, I got to do that again. And
Took a little time off, and then I went back. I'm like, I'm doing the bad guy version now.
And that was also the first time where I played a game was like, you know what? Maybe I have to have multiple saves at what I believe are pivotal turning points. and that way I don't have to go back and play the entire tutorial, like the first 5 chapters of the game again, because it's 6 chapters where everything goes to hell. I'm like, I don't need to play chapters 1 through 5. Like, I got this. Let's just start from chapter 6 again. So I don't know. What was the your first, Scott, your first like RPG like that took you to a different place? That was like, this is not what you're going to do.
In what kind? I'm sorry. Ask that question again. Like what?
He wasn't paying attention.
No, I wasn't.
The ball's bouncing on that.
You have long stretches of talk. You have long stretches of talk, and then you're like, and so anyway, Scott, what do you think? So you gotta like give me a second to when you say which was my first RPG that I played that really impacted me. Is that based?
The first RPG that you played that sticks with you, that changed what it meant to be an RPG for you? Because again, so like my entire thing for what I think a real RPG, like if I had to do a perfect RPG, right, because that's what we were trying to determine in the first recording was what is an RPG, and we were talking to the chicken about it, and the chicken couldn't, he couldn't come up with it. He gave us like 3 wrong answers of what it was.
Yeah,
like,
we kind of set him up though.
Yeah, we did. It's really easy to set him up though. So So what I've like for me personally, like you need the stats, right? You need to be able to level up a character, right? The character has to be your own, and you can do whatever you want with him, even if it's within several subsets that you have to pick to begin with. You can do whatever he wants, and then for me, the big thing has to be that there are decision points in the game that dramatically affect the world, like that change the face of it.
So if your decisions do not affect the world, in which that if you play through it more than once, you could have a different storyline altogether, then you don't consider that really an RPG?
I mean, how deep into because the thing you gotta remember is the RP is role playing, like it's role playing. It's not stats driven game, right?
So
you're like,
all right. Well, if we're honestly like the first role playing game that really impacted me and the fact that I could change things was World of Warcraft. And I say that because I was never interested in a lot of the turn-based games that were out. Like Final Fantasy never really like did anything for me. And there was a game for Sega Genesis that I played, but I can't remember what it was. But it involved stats but it was more like an action RPG where your character basically, could change. I can't remember the darn name of it. And it's killing me, but really, it's WoW that really did it for me. I mean, I think that it really did it for me because I don't like sitting and thinking and pondering so much. Like I felt like with like Final Fantasy, it was a lot of sitting and thinking, and this is probably why board games don't really do it for me. I feel like with WoW, I'm like, or like an action RPG, I'm just kind of really thinking on the fly and making decisions. Yeah, there are some pivotal points where you make a decision. But you know what? This is kind of like what reminds me of is the other Star Wars one, which was the Star Wars MMORPG.
Tor, the Old Republic.
The Old Republic, right? So you could choose the more you progressed whichever way, you either like your lightsaber changed color, you became, depending on the decisions you made and stuff like that. I really enjoyed that aspect of that game. But basically,
so I'm gonna go ahead and call total bullshit on WoW lets you shape the world. Like WoW literally exists in a persistent universe. So you could kill a bad guy and then you could literally wait 10 minutes and kill that same bad guy again. He's gonna spawn in the same spot. What's that town outside of the human starting zone. That
Goldshire.
was like, okay, so
Was
that's like where the farms are dying, right? So you go there and
Oh, you mean oh God, I can't remember the name. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah, so Mike, so what you do is you start like in the starting zone in the little village, whatever you do, whatever. The next zone, like the level 10 to 20 zone that you go to, and that's where you actually, I believe, have your first instance if you choose human as your starting race, is a farmland that's dying. It's a bunch of farmers and they're going poor because their crops are dying, and the entire like main storyline quest, not counting side quests, that you go through in that particular part is to help all of these farmers, get better, either by getting them water or helping them to get food or chasing away. I would go with kobolds. It's usually kobolds. They're like ransacking their crops and what have you. And then you get to the end of it, and then you could just literally turn around and go back to that first dude, and he's still crying about his crops. Like, yeah, and WoW, you literally don't affect the world. Like, you have zero impact on that place. Like, WoW, and again, I loved WoW, but WoW feels like less of an RPG to me than more of a stats-driven gear grab game, which is totally fine. It's a good dynamic. It's fun. It feels rewarding. But I mean,
you're kind of an RPG snob, really. You're like, oh, it didn't affect the world, so it's not good for me.
And Tor, fuck Tor. I played the free to play model, and they wouldn't give me a second action bar.
All right, yeah, but besides the second action bar, you can change.
So fuck Tor and fuck Destiny. Paywall suck dick. Go ahead.
No. You have like you literally like. Oh God, never mind.
Go ahead,
you get so angry.
Bro. Go on
No,
rant,
you
dude.
can't. You get so angry at games, and you can't even discuss it. You're like, I got one action bar. Forget about it. I can't even look at the rest of the game.
Yeah, no, I stopped right there. No, that's... Dude, what are you talking... That's gameplay functionality. That's literally the functionality of the game. That's like saying, hey, no right-clicking. What? What do you mean no right-clicking? Yeah, you have...
Well,
no,
all right.
no, I get to right-click.
So wait. I don't want to go off on a I don't want to get off on a tangent on
Let's
this.
tangent,
okay?
bro. Let's tangent. Let's do it.
You can play the game with one action bar. Okay? You can play the game with one action bar.
How many action bars do you use in WoW?
Okay, I'm not saying that.
How many action bars do you use in WoW?
I obviously use about 4.
Okay.
But
okay.
I'm saying that you can play the game with one action bar. I'm totally frozen. Okay, there I am. But my point being is, if that's
Skype disagrees
what they want to do to free to play, that's
Skype
what
disagrees
free
with
to
you
play.
hard. Skype is trying to
All right,
silence
so
your madness.
they could. You know what? They could limit you to level 20 like WoW, and you can just sit there and pedal around all day and under level 20, or they let you play all the way up with one thing, and you just get creative and make different keybinds or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you have no answer for me. You didn't have an answer for me. You ended that statement with "I don't know."
But back to the original discussion. Okay,
Hold on,
I guess
no. I don't want to get back to the original discussion. Mike, you're the ref. Who won? I can't hear you, Mike. Did
you
mute
totally
yourself?
muted. You totally muted yourself. Like, I'm out of this one.
Yeah. Action bar wins. Action bar wins.
Right. One action bar wins. Thank you. All right. So anyway.
Hold on. He called us console kids, but he doesn't know what an action bar is. Fuck this guy.
No. I didn't call you guys console kids. I was talking about a group of people when I was in college. They were console kids.
All right.
Talked about them like the hipsters.
You
all right.
guys
So listen,
game,
go ahead,
PC
Scott.
game more than I
I'm
did.
sorry. That was fun.
Back to the original thing. I guess that
Filthy
according
casuals.
to your standard, I mean, there are things in WoW, especially now, that once you do it, they phase it, right? There's so much phasing in WoW now. So when you go into a zone and you accomplish something, it phases out. So it's no longer there. So if you save a town, the town is saved. They're completely. This is something they're doing.
Yeah, that's actually
So-
good. I like that. But who did that first? Someone else did that first.
I don't know. What does that matter? What does that matter?
No, I'm
telling you.
I'm trying to pick a. Don't worry about it. Go ahead.
A reason to complain. Okay, so they're phasing things out, so which is awesome. Okay, but it still won't meet your standard. You know why? Because maybe there may be some points, but basically everyone ends up in the same phase. So as you complete these points,
Indeed.
it phases you out, right? So you may not necessarily end up in different spots. I mean, there are some points in the game they do that, but the problem is the game that you were talking about. What was the name of that game?
Which one?
KOTOR.
KOTOR. How's that spelled?
KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic.
Okay. Now, I'm sorry, I didn't know your slang. So in KOTOR, when you change the world, were you alone or were you with other people?
You had a group.
You had a group. You had to at least have 3 people whenever you were fighting, but your entire team,
so,
I think, ended up being like under a dozen.
So
It was
once
like 6,
so-
something like that.
So once you get to a point and you have a decision to be made, right? After you make that decision, that area changes or whatever you do changes, then it changes forever. So
Yes.
now, if you end up playing with someone who didn't make that decision, what
no,
happened?
No.
Not a
Single
multiplayer
player
game.
experience. Single player experience.
Okay, so it's all right. So here's my point: is that
NPCs on your team could quit
in-
if they didn't like the direction you were going.
Okay, so in a multiplayer experience, you can't do that, right? Or very difficultly because you have to be able to be like, oh, I made this decision, and then you join the game, and I'm like, well, man, I can't help you because I decided to blow up the town and you didn't, so we can't play together. You know, so you can't do that in a multiplayer experience. But to me, I really have no desire to play too much of a single player experience where there's not other people there. So I think that's why I never had that experience with that.
Sounds like you need to play some Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. He should. But first of all, thank you for telling us you love us. I appreciate it.
Player
Dungeons and Dragons is
where
multiplayer.
any one person's decisions can impact the entire group.
Right, but you're still playing with other people, right? Like
Yeah, but
so-
if the guy next to me says you can talk, like there's almost like a pause button, like a unwritten rule in Dungeons and Dragons where Dungeon Master says you walk in, you see this, and there's always a jumpy guy in your group who's like, I cast a fireball, and like you can grab him and be like, whoa, Slick Willie, before you roll the dice on that fireball, let's see if we can figure out a little bit. Let's ask the DM some questions, like what does it look like? Describe the room better. Blah 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 blah. But every once in a while, the DM's gonna fuck with you, and if that guy yells, I cast a fireball," he's gonna be like, "Roll the dice." He said he cast a fireball. Cast a fireball. Roll the dice. Let's see what happens. And then he rolls the dice, and all of a sudden, the next thing you know, the room's on fire, and 3 of your characters are dead, and you're like, "God damn it!" That's why I killed that guy in his sleep without asking all the time.
So, and by the way, in real life, I don't mean rolling dice, killing sleep. Just slits his wrist like while he's passed out. No, so video games have that dynamic, and I have a counter to you over there in a second. So, a lot of video games have that pause button when a fight starts, which is actually great because again, I want to keep drawing these parallels to. My end goal is to get to play like a Dungeons and Dragons style, straight up. We're making decisions on the fly, and the computers are rendering our decisions as we go, kind of thing, as a group. Like, I think that'd be so fucking awesome to get there. And we're getting there by baby steps, by the way, little by little. Wild boys be damned. Now, back to your point. About not being able to do it with someone. I play Divinity Original Sin. Divinity 2 Original Sin. Right? And you play in a 4-person group, but you can play 2 people multiplayer. Right? But you play in one of their worlds. Right? So it's not like a shared universe with everybody. So if it's my world, like if you join me in my game, you go into my world. But we're both involved in the decision-making process. So while you can't just run amok and start a fight, per se, but if you meet like a drunk guards guarding the gate, and you're like, let us in, and the guard's like, I can't, and then one of the guys are like, hey, let's just punch this dude in the face and go inside. The other one's like, let's just ask for a supervisor. We just got to this town. Let's not make a ruckus. That is a decision point that will impact the rest of the game. It will impact the way the people in town treat you. It will open and close the possibilities for certain quest lines, and it will also make you kill 2 people permanently. right? 2 NPCs permanently. One of you can go, let's kill that guy. And now it's in the other person's court, regardless of whose world it is. So if it's my world and I invite you in and you're the other main character, because there's 2 main characters in the game, I get to pick what your main character is because it's whatever I chose the partner to be in my world. You don't get to like port your character in. So you're in, you go, let's kill this dude. I go, no, we're not going to kill this dude. And then we have an argument. And our argument is based on either a charisma or intimidate or our charm. Charm, charisma. I forget. There's 3, but charm and charisma are the same fucking thing. But it's a charm, intimidate, reason. And you choose which one you want to roll. And then upon that roll, you start a literal game of rock, paper, scissors, where each one of your wins gives you a certain amount of points based off of what your stat is, either on your intimidate, charm, or reason. And then you have to win. And then now you've just changed my world. Like, you've come in, you've won the argument, and you've beat me in my game and made the decision, because whoever wins the argument is who gets to make decisions. And you're also leveling up my other character. Like, he's my character, but if you're that person, when it comes time to level, you level him, I don't. So we're getting to the point where we can have that kind of multiplayer experience where now a permanent change was made to the world. It had to come between in a multiplayer format where a decision had to be made, be it as a group, but really it's a competition, and whoever wins the competition, that little rock, paper, scissors minigames, gets to make the decision, and now my world is fucked, regardless of what you chose.
It seems like a headache for a game designer.
Yeah, it seems like fucking fun for me.
Like an infinite... yeah, well, I totally get that, but that seems like incredibly hard to design. So many possibilities, and, you know...
Is it like a choice box where you both pick without the other one knowing, and then you have to play rock, paper, scissors?
No,
or do you not communicate this?
It's an open conversation, so it happens just like any other dialogue. Like, as a matter of fact, it's to the point where like if you're not together when the conversation happens, you get no say. So you could literally run off separately, and like turn in quests and whatever, and you both will get the experience, and you guys both get the quest lines as you pick them up. But if during these quest lines, like in town especially, where you won't be fighting people, so you don't necessarily need to be in a group, you can push quest lines forward and make decisions solo that affect the other person. But when you're together and you make that decision, it's literally an open dialogue that you're both reading. So it'll prompt you, and then it'll say your character, and it'll tell. So like Mike and Scott, you guys are playing. Mike, you go talk to these guards. I'm just going to use the guard example again, right? You talk to the guards are drunk. This actually happens in the game. It's the actual first decision point you reach. You talk to the guard, he goes, I'm drunk, blase, blase, blase. And then you have the option either to just talk to him or like berate him for being drunk. You have a few stock dialogues you can. That dialogue will escalate to the decision point in which one of you'll go, these guys, your options will be, these guys should be beaten for being drunk on duty, and the other one's like, don't be a fool and just take me to your captain. And then after you make that decision, Scott pops up with similar decisions, which is a violent act against the guards or just take me to your captain. Now, if you both choose, hey, both be violent, or both choose, hey, let's just go to the captain, you do that action because you've agreed. But the minute you disagree, now you do your roll. You chose if you're going to roll charm. No, if you're going to choose intimidate, charm, or reason. And each one of those comes with its own response. So there's a reason response, it would do us no good to kill these guys because the people in town would be upset. Like, that would be like your reason. That would be you saying, now I'm not going to roll reason. You know, it's a string of dialogue.
I understand that. I'm saying, like, if me and Scott are playing and it's his world, and either, all right, maybe we're doing a co-op campaign and I'm doing a lot of it, but at some point, can I be like, I'm going to fuck with Scott and, like, all right, I'm going to choose to, like, or screw it, I'm playing this character the way I want to play him. I'm going to beat the shit out of this guy. Can't I, like, if Scott's in my ear, presumably, saying, like, hey, let's be calm here. Let's just go to the captain. I don't want trouble in this town. And I could be like, sure, Scott. I mean, and then wallop the guy.
No. It has to happen at the decision point. So you can't, like it's not freeform the way, like, Skyrim is, where you can just come back later and stab a guard after a dialogue is over. When you hit that dialogue piece, you guys either have to go, we're going to fight this either through argument, or we're just going to take the peaceful route through argument.
Right, I understand that, but I'm saying, like, does it cut our mics Like, are we not allowed to communicate with each other via headsets? That Scott can be like, "Don't fuck this up for me.
Totally.
This village is gonna be good for me." Like, so he can try to convince me, even though I'm sitting there hitting the button that says punch.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Totally. When me and Ortiz play, we do the exact same thing. I'm like, I'm gonna push this guy. It's like, no. I'm like, I'm gonna punch him, and then we're arguing while we're playing rock paper scissors, because we're making permanent changes to the other person's world, and we leave. And if that guy turns his computer back on and starts playing again, whatever I did to his world sticks. That shit sticks. It's permanent. Yeah. If I pick up gear and sell it, it's permanent. He doesn't get to shot at that gear. Well, theoretically, he could buy it back. Like if when I log off, if he doesn't log off, he can buy it back. But you understand what I'm saying? It's so it's possible, Scott. Is what I'm saying.
I mean, it seems cool.
It's a dream. I don't know if you'd be into it because
It seems cool, but it doesn't seem. I don't know.
Who's team you on, bro? The gamer side or the programmer side? Because fuck those people. Make me a game I want to play. Make me an awesome game. Make me something incredible. I
think you have to be very concentrated in a game like that, then, right? Because, I mean, I think that's one cool aspect of it, where you're actually. It's nice to be in a game where. You know, you're making a difference, or you're either for good or for bad, and develops your character, right? Because I'm all about developing the character. I'm all about the engagement with who I am in the game when I'm playing. So I enjoy that concept of it, but I feel like I don't know. I'd be worn out playing that game. Like I couldn't play that game all night, because I'd be like, man, I have enough hard damn decisions to make during the day, and now this guy is starting to crap with me at the bar, and Danny's being a jerk, and I gotta calm him down, and here comes Burke. Oh great, now this crap's happening. Gonna mess up my whole world. Like I have enough problems in real life. Why do I want this crap in my fantasy world here? So
yeah, but I imagine that's the part of interacting with other people. You guys, I did a Payday video for the YouTube page the other day, but you guys play Payday?
No.
So you can rob banks in Payday, right? And when you're robbing banks, some missions you can go completely stealth. Like you can walk in, you can do crowd control, you can tie people down, you can not alert the cops, and you can rob a bank in 20 minutes without ever having to fight the cops, right?
Like wait, hold on. Real time 20 minutes or 20 minutes?
Real time 20 minutes. Real time 20 minutes. Like when you hit a job, there's a clock starting. You start in casing mode. You can walk around, see where the doors are, see where the cameras in. Then you go outside. You put your fucking clown mask on. Then you can pick locks. You can go in through the back door. You can disable the cameras. Then you do crowd control, and then you gotta either steal jewelries or gold bars or whatever it is, and you have to do it without people. And then it's like one of those things, even when you have the room under control, like the phone will ring, and when the phone rings, you have to pick it up and answer and pretend that you work there, and then people get suspicious. And there's this one where, like, if you're doing it in quiet, you'll get a call from someone who saw what you did. Like, well, I know what you're doing, and I'm going to call the cops unless that first bag of money you take over that you throw out of the fence behind the thing, so I can have some money too. And then if you don't do it, he calls the cops, and you find the cops. So you can do all that, and if you do it stealth, there's a bonus in experience, there's a bonus in money. And it's just cool. It's very challenging to do. Or you can do a total chaotic, guns a-blazing fighting of the cops, which you'll still get the money, but it's far more time-consuming and you could die, right? Those are the two things you can do in that game. We didn't one time to go completely stealth, right? It was me, my brother, Wilson, and Dave. Okay, and for those of you who don't know Dave's our crazy friend.
You got Dave to go stealth?
All right.
I know, right?
So we're walking in. We're like, we're gonna go stealth.
Tie him up.
We walk in to see where the cameras are. Dave puts his mask on and immediately throws a grenade into the bank.
Oh,
well, of course he does. Why would you think otherwise? Like, leave him in the car until you're like ready for the grenade.
And he just and the whole thing went to shit because when you go in stealth,
he threw a grenade. That's why it all went to shit.
Yes. But the other part of it is there's a stealth rating you get in that game. So if you're wearing body armor, your stealth rating diminishes because of who walks into a bank wearing body armor, right? So none of us wearing body armors. So if you walk in with a giant shotgun, that's harder to conceal. So if you have a giant shotgun, it's lowers your. So to lower it all the way down, you have to have the smallest weapons you can have with silencers, and can't be wearing any protective gear at all. Which means when the cops showed up, we got fucking annihilated. We had no weapons to hurt them, and we got shot to shit.
Is that in the
great.
video?
No. And when I play with Dave, I always wear body armor, and we never try and go silent. We learned, dude. No, I learned my lesson. I just do it once. I'm like, nope, body. And I wear head to toe body armor, bro. I wear the body armor that slows you down because you're so armored. Because we're like, all right, we just walk through the front door and start shooting people. Because this is just
So is it in this game? Because we should definitely. I know that we tried to play this once. Could everybody else be in body armor and one person not be, and that person go in and kind of get things started, and then
yes. That is totally a way to do it, but it makes it hard because really one person can't do it by themselves because someone has to walk in, take out the guards, and then once that happens, someone has to already be inside to do crowd control. Because and then someone has to be outside to do crowd control too. Because if someone sees you from the outside, they can call the cops on the cell phone. So it's one of those things where you might have to walk through the back to pick the lock to the back door to get into the security office to turn off the cameras. That guy picking the lock, if he gets spotted, someone's going to call the cops on him. So someone has to be ready to pull a gun out, and whoever pulls their phone out to get them to get on the floor, tie them up, and put them somewhere safe because now they're a hostage. So now you got at least two people there. So you at least need two. I mean, one person seems actually impossible. Not that I'm saying out loud. Just one person, not in stealth mode, seems hard. Yeah, it does seem hard. But anyway, I bring that up, right, to be the great parallel, right? So we can go back and we can do that level again, right? But the minute Dave throws that grenade in there, that world has changed forever. The cops are coming. Those people are dead. Which, by the way, if you kill civilians, you have to pay cleanup costs. So it already he's messing up the bottom line. But anyway, so all that stuff happens.
We're worried about the bottom line,
right? But that for me, that doesn't stop me from playing the game, right? Because if you're gonna play a game with other people, you gotta be ready for stuff like that. You have to be ready to hedge your bet. You play WoW, right?
Mm-hmm.
And while you're playing WoW, you're like, oh, it's totally okay that someone the tank might screw up and not aggro, so that the guy doing our DPS guys die, and then we all wipe. That's okay, but someone making a permanent change to the world isn't okay. I feel like wiping is far worse. Of a time investment. All right, fine. The story changed a little. The world changed a little. This faction can no longer be an alliance option for me. Versus, we've been 2.5 hours into this raid and now we're all dead. I feel like that's a far.
So, do you favor games like that over games like WoW? Do you favor the idea that
favor?
You could?
Yes, we're saying favor now. I'm not. Again, I don't like. It feels like a trap sometimes when you say something's better than something else, and people.
No. What I'm saying.
You're allowed to play both. You're allowed to play both.
Do you prefer, is what I'm saying. Do you prefer to play games where Dave could come in and mess up your world with a hand grenade, over games that Dave can come in your world, blow things up, but don't worry about it. We could try it again or do something else. Once that grenade is thrown in that Payday, is that it? That bank forever is blown up, and
it's just a mission, right?
Yeah, it's you.
Or hypothetically.
Yeah,
Let's do hypothetically.
Yeah, because you can reload the mission.
You can reload the mission, or you can do the bank another day or whatever. Or do you prefer he blows it up? That's it. That bank is done. They close it down. They demolish it. Too many people died. It's a bad mark on the town. It's now green grass, and they got a little mural there and a fountain. So you can never touch it again. Is that something you would prefer, or would you prefer oh, you blew it up and we'll try it next week?
When I play an RPG, okay? When I play an RPG, there has to be a sense of permanence for me. Like for it to take away. It has to have a certain, people like to watch movies, right? We like to watch movies. I enjoy a good movie. But if you ask me, what kind of story I prefer to be involved in, I would prefer to be involved in a rich game story, in that interactive storytelling. But part of like interactive storytelling is when we look at a movie and go, don't go in there, right? And the dude's either gonna go in there or not go in there. That's pre-scripted, and then what happens? Everything's just gonna happen, right? No matter what you do, those things in that movie is gonna happen. When I play a game, it doesn't have to be every moment, but I want to hit a point where I can go, this is the fork in the road, and there's no turning back. And I honestly, I know what you're talking about, like that feeling that of literal anxiety, right? Because you can't go back, right? You're like, dude, I've played games that have been so heavy in decision making and permanence, where like I have to take a break because I'm no longer vacationing. Like I'm no longer in a digital fantasy realm where I'm vacationing from my problems. Instead, I have this set of problems in the real world, and now I have this set of RPG problems that I now need to solve. And man, I hope I level appropriately, and there's no turning back.
So like a what was that game? Second Life? Was it Second Life? What was the name of it?
Half-Life?
Where you
No,
not Half-Life. No, Second Life or whatever it was called. Hold on. Where it's like you're like a person in the world. Oh yeah, Second Life. So Second Life, I never played it, but like you basically develop a person in a world, like a real person, but kind of like a Sims kind of thing. But you're living in a world where you modify yourself and you live in this world. It's like a city or town or whatever, and you just live your life. You're a musician. You're a person that works. I never played it, so I don't know the thing. So I'm sorry if I'm destroying it.
Fuck.
Right, but here's my thing. This was going to ask you: would you play an RPG where it was like basically you're a guy who works and you just try to maintain your family and you just try to maintain a job and you work at a nuclear power plant and you?
Was it Rick and Morty when he had that? He went to that video game. I think it was called Steve or something, and like he plugged in.
I don't know.
He went from like, God damn it! You're supposed to be there in the Rick and
Oh
Morty.
yeah. No, hold on. Yeah. I think I do.
Yeah, they went to like Space Dave and Buster's, and he plugged into the game. And do you watch Rick and Morty, Mike?
Nah.
Kill yourself, bro.
It's
the best thing ever created. So
just
okay, no. So here's the
just
thing.
Don't get the gun, buddy. Don't.
Yeah, I am what do you call it? I don't like the sim. So okay, so you guys make me keep setting the bar and then raising the bar, and then you're gonna see that my perfect RPG doesn't exist. We've already said it doesn't exist because the thing I want of permanence, like consistent permanence in a group setting, doesn't exist. So I get that, but if you look at it in terms of like it has to tell a story, right? And you wanna mend the story, but you can't be the dungeon master. All right, that's the other half of this, right? You can't be the dungeon master. You can't be the guy saying what happens. You're the person making the decisions and shaping the world, but you don't create the world. It's not your world, right? And all of the best stories, right? Every great story, even like, so you watch or read Bender's Game, right? Which I enjoyed both the book and the movie. I did in reverse order. I did the movie and then I did the book. It was good, but Bender, right, who's the main character of it, who makes all these decisions as he's going through the movie, right? Whether to beat up the kid or in that stupid simulation game, or even the decisions he made tactically during the pretend fight and then eventually the real fight that he didn't know was real. Spoiler alert for Bender's Game, by the way. Bender's Game was the Futurama episode, which was super awesome. Ender's Game? I'm talking Ender's Game. I played a Futurama Candy Crush on my phone, and
I was sitting here going, Bender's Game?
Futurama. This is the stuff I'm into.
Talking about Futurama?
I was totally talking about Futurama for a second. But in Ender's Game,
wasn't Harrison Ford in that?
Harrison Ford was in the movie. Yes, he was.
Yeah.
And all that stuff happens. He wasn't in control, right? He was making all these decisions, and again, it's scripted decisions, but still, if you If you think about it in terms of story and you're watching character develop, because the other thing, a character develops not just on his stat sheet, but in his personality. But he wasn't in control. You had Harrison Ford and all of the grown-ups telling him what he had to do. You had the alien race, like, who even created all this stuff before he started. The aliens invaded the Earth to start this war that precedes the books, but it precedes the stories before Ender's even involved in any of this stuff. So when you say, "Do I want to be the guy who gets the job?" Like what? Like where's the conflict there? Like where's the world that I'm fighting against? Is the world I'm fighting against real world? Like I don't want to play a life simulator. Like that seems like
what it is.
shit.
Well,
That's all it is.
Full
Yeah.
stop.
Well,
That seems like shit. Full stop.
Here's
life is
my
shit. Full
here's
stop.
my question for you. So right now, in
Yes.
the current, would you say that RPG is your favorite type of game?
Oh fuck, that's not fair. Let me think.
Okay. Second question. Okay.
Yes.
Right now, yes.
Yes.
Okay. In this current game market, what game would you consider your prime number one? Because it's your favorite type of game. So which one is your favorite game right now that represents as close to you as possible? Because that would be the all-time best game for you right now.
Right now,
Yes.
the most fun I've had playing an RPG has been The
Yes.
Witcher.
The Witcher.
Yes, The Witcher 3. One, the world is so big and vast it feels overwhelming. Two, there's a definite sense of permanence, like irreversible permanence. And here I'm going to give you the example, like the smallest example of the type of permanence that I'm talking about that like fucks you up and will literally like I didn't want to do that. Let me restart the game. There is a mini game in the game where you play cards, right? And it's like it's like a really dumbed down version of Magic, or even a dumbed down version of Hearthstone, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like it's in the game, and you have to beat certain NPCs in the game to get certain cards and whatever, right? So this is like a whole nother mini game in the game, right? There's like a Pokemon card game. It's its own separate quest line, but it's also like you literally stop playing and now you're looking at a different game. Like it's a game board. Like you don't see yourself sit at the table. You just see the game board like you would a la Hearthstone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was this, what's his name? The Black Governor or something, or the Mad Governor, or whatever. He's an NPC in the game. You go through his storyline. Again, spoiler, at the end of his storyline, depending on the choice you make, and again, depending on the choice you make, he chooses to kill himself, right? So there's a choice you make separate that affects his life that then causes him to kill himself. He's dead forever. All right? If you had gone down a different path, other people would have died. He would have come out victorious. He would have still lived. Guess what I didn't do before he died?
Say goodbye.
I didn't play him.
Safe.
And no, I didn't beat him in cards, so I never got his rare card that he gives you. That's permanent. I will never get that card. That card that he had for me to go later on down the line to play cards with other people, and it sounds small and stupid. Like you would think the more permanent thing that I did was change the town that he lived in, mess up his family forever, and cause him to kill himself with the decisions that I made, versus making sure his family stayed together but pissing off his daughter. He lives, and then his town gets to be under his rule, and even though he was
Blah, blah, blah. The impact is you didn't get the goddamn card.
Permanently! There's nothing I can do. I can't go back. So the permanence in that game is so multi-layered that you don't realize it when you're making the decisions. And there's no clue that he's going to kill himself, right? All of the other decisions you make, you're like, all right, this will piss him off. All right, I'm saving these people instead of these people. All right, I'm going to side in with this side instead of that side. And then you get to like, he hung himself. What? I didn't know this was going to happen. And then later on, you're like, wait, fuck, he has that card. And I went into his room and I looked for it and everything. I checked his dead body. I can't find the card. The card's gone forever.
I have to say that real quick. I'm learning a lot about both of you tonight, right? So I learned about Burke's destiny to play Destiny, right? And now with you, I'm learning.
Could be my new Twitter handle.
That that taking a look at your past that you like to write stories and novels and all that stuff.
Yes, I do.
These games are more significant to you because you're living out the story. You're writing the story. You're getting a chance to be the person that writes that story. As much as you say you don't want to be the dungeon master, you're still the person writing the story. So, did you guys cover in the first one, the books that you used to read and you'd make the decision and you change the book, what page you go to?
Choose Your Own Adventure books? Favorite
Choose
type
Your
of
Own
book.
Okay, see, and I knew it was going to be. And then here's my next question. Why don't you write one of those?
Because that's not a thing anymore.
Make it a thing. That's so novelty right there.
Wait. Yeah, I've got that power, bro. If I had that power, this podcast would be a thing.
No, but
Choose Your Own Adventure podcast.
Will dies in this episode.
Press pause now. Select this video to see what happens when.
Wait a
Will
second.
gets killed.
This could work. This could totally work if we use annotations on the video. We could say choose now, and they could pick, and it would skip to a different part of the video. We can make it happen.
Did we just invent a Choose Your Own Adventure podcast?
Totally just did.
Copyrighted, fuckers.
I'm dead serious. We should definitely do that. I know someone out there is going to enjoy that.
We should do one. We should do one of the ones Will can't get to, and we should have a picture of him up, and then we could just hey Will, what do you think? And then we'll pop up two things for them to click.
they get to sit and we'll see for the podcast.
For the podcast, we should do that every time someone can't make it. We should.
If you think Will says something stupid, click to this video. If you think Will said something intelligent, click to this video. And then as soon as they click the video, the next video starts and it's us reaction. Yeah. You asshole! You're such a moron.
It'd be fucking great. It'd be great. We're so good. We're so good. All right, so we're running at the end here. Just real quick, games we're playing. I mentioned The Witcher because I pitched up the Witcher again, which is why it was so fresh. Yeah, which is what. And here's the thing: I'm going to admit this. As much as I love that game and as overwhelmed as I felt by it, didn't finish it. Did not finish The Witcher 3. Read all of the books. Did Witcher 1 and 2. Went back. Read all 4 books.
I thought was it Witcher 3 that got bad reviews?
No.
No.
No. Witcher 3 was met with blowjobs and confetti, dude. That fucking game was incredible. Oh man, we should make a rating system where the best rating is blowjob and confetti. Like I don't know what we do leading up to it, but trademark. That one's trademarked. The other one's copyrighted. That one's trademarked. Blowjobs and confetti. And also South Park and the Stick of Truth. Which so far has had one permanent decision point in it. And that's the faction you choose. Whether you choose to be with Cal and Stan or whether you choose to be with Cartman and Kenny. So at the very least.
What were the choices?
In the game, the decision point, which just right now, so far as I've gotten, is which faction you're a part of. Whether you're with the elves or whether you're with the humans. But they all playing a game because they're children. Anyway, Burke still playing Destiny, Overwatch.
Yeah, that's what I played today. Destiny and Overwatch.
Oh, there's another game, Wasteland 2, free to play this weekend on Steam. I don't know when I'm going to post this, but I would have recorded the weekend that it was free to play, and I started getting into that, and it seems intriguing. I don't know if it's going to be worth the buy, but I'm going to check that one out too. All right, Scott.
Couple things.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I think this weekend is free to play Microsoft multiplayer Xbox. If you have Xbox, I think this weekend I forget. I was just trying to find a story where I was talking to you that it's going to be you don't need a subscription to play multiplayer. So if you wanted to try it out,
if you have an Xbox and you don't have gold, why do you have an Xbox? Carry on.
Anyway, just trying to be nice to people. A TF2, of course, because that's what my computer can handle right now. And I was playing Orcs Must Die 2. You ever tried that?
It was on Steam sale the other day. I almost picked it up, but
there was a beta of it, and I played it. I like those kind of it's kind of like a tower defense game. You set up the traps and prepare for the waves to come through and stuff like that.
I thought it was like kind of like top down Diablo
So
style.
it's
tower
kind of
defense?
it's kind of fun if you have two people. So
I'm
it's
a two
like
people.
all right, so like if you have you're in a castle, right? And you have like you have a one weapon, you have like three abilities, and then you have like 5 minutes or whatever to prep. And so you run around, and it's very much in a third person view, and you put like traps on the floor and like spikes that come up when people walk over it, and then the waves come, and then you got to set it up accordingly so that kills all of them. And some of them, and then you're shooting them and doing all this stuff. So it's a lot of fun. Just you should watch a YouTube video on it. It's pretty awesome.
All right, I'll definitely have to check that out.
It's a brain dead game. It's one of those ones you could just sit and kind of, talk and be goofy with.
That sounds like actually a great game for stream.
Hmm?
With that, want to start doing polls on the next
Poll.
topic?
You could do that.
For people, we'll figure it out. But right now, I think we're leaning towards. Burke, I don't know how much you have to contribute to this, but Steam sales, like what has the Steam sale made you do? Because a Steam sale and a humble bundle. So I know now you're
Sweet. I get a week off.
yeah, you're a console kid. So now, I don't know. I don't know why that offended me.
Looking to change that though.
Looking
Looking
to
to
change
change that.
And you'll understand what Steam and Humble Bundle does to you, where they're like, you games $5. You're like, yeah, I'll get 6 of them, and then you're like, fuck, man, I haven't even touched it. I have so much games in my Steam library because of Humble, and on my GOG, and on my fucking whatever the one from EA or whatever. We're gonna lean that way. That or we'll come up with something sexier during the week. So everyone, thanks for watching and/or listening, depending on how you consume this media. Space Chicken out.
Bye.
Oh, we're waving. We're gonna wave.